Hi friends, it's Becky, and I just want to share with you a little tutorial making a pretty springtime necklace using the Pink Lemonade treasure box from Potomac Beads. I've got all my box all in here. If you want to see all the rest of the contents of the box, I'll put a link to my unboxing in the description below so you can see what else is in there. But I thought I'd pull out these like sort of apricot colored pearls, some of these clear light yellow, look just like lemonade, drooks. We've got these giant fire polish pink beads that we're going to be using, and all of these daisy petal dagger beads. I've brought some of the 8 seed beads that were in there that we're going to be using in this, and I'm going to be working from the middle out, so I am going to be using a little bead bug, bead stopper. While we do that, I've got some jump rings and crimp tubes and a lobster clasp for closure. And then for tools, I'm going to be using some flush cutters to cut my wire. And my favorite way of crimping is using my magical crimper. So I'm going to be using that to crimp my wires. But it's going to be basically a strung necklace, but we're going to do some fun things with the large beads and the daggers. Something that I've done before, but it's going to be so effective to make a springtimey, florally looking necklace with these beads. And so I'm happy to share that with you. I do have some medium-sized 0.019 beading wire that we're going to be using. And I'm just going to grab off enough that we're going to have a decent size necklace because I'm going to be looping it around a bit. I want more wire than will be then will actually make the necklace. So like if it was an 18-inch necklace, I'd want about maybe 18-inch. It takes a couple inches to do the loop-de-loops, so maybe about 25, 26 inches, something like that, for that to happen. So I've cut some off so that we can do that. Before I start, I want to share something with you today. I usually, with my dogs, like when I order Chinese food, I'll give them the fortune cookies, but because they can't read English yet, I have to read their fortunes for them. And this one was in the fortune that I read to them yesterday. It says, "Better to do something imperfectly than to do nothing perfectly." And I think that that's something that we as creators often let that striving for perfection get in the way of us actually creating. You know, that fear of not meeting expectations or not being exactly what we planned for it to be, just getting in our own way with that. So don't strive for perfection, just do a thing. That's my advice for today. Alright, so I've got my wire and I'm going to find the middle of it, and in the middle of it I am going to put 5 of these dagger beads. So, where are you going, buddy? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is 5 of them. Alright, and this is just to start the necklace and the stringing. It's just to get it right there in the middle, like that. And now I'm going to put both of these wires through one of these pink beads, going in opposite direction. Again, this is just to start it. It will be a little bit different as we continue on. I just wanted to make sure that we were in the middle of this to start. So now we have a little bead like that, and I think I actually need to put a seed bead. See, there's a little bit of a gap there. I'm going to actually take this off and put a seed bead on each end of this before I put it through the pink bead. So a seed bead on each strand, And these are 8/0 seed beads that I'm using. And that's just to kind of fill in the gap a little bit, make it so that it's not quite so tight on these white beads when I do pull the wire a little bit tighter. There we go. There we go. They're gonna hang a little bit better like that with those seed beads there to help give it a little bit of a cushion. Now I want a seed bead on either side of this again. So I'm going to pick up a seed bead on my right side, pick up a seed bead on my left side, and then I'm going to stop working from both sides at once. I'm going to go ahead and put a stopper on this end and work from this side towards the end. So I've got that seed bead there. I now want to get my little apricot beads and these guys in there, and I'm just going to move my seed beads because they're way over there, and I'm going to be using them more than any of these other beads. I'm going to move them here so that they are easier for me to get to. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. So, a pearl and a seed bead and a drook and a seed bead. And a pearl. See, the seed beads are going to be little spacers in between each of these. It'll keep the beads from looking crowded on there, but also give me a little extra length than I would get if I was just stringing these beads along. All right, so now I'm going to go through my next pink bead. So I'm not starting with the dagger beads on this one. I'm starting with the pink bead on this one. And I want to, whoop, I need a seed bead before that dagger, or before my pink bead. All right, seed bead and then pink bead. There we go. That way I've got my little seed bead right there. And now I'm going to pick up a seed bead, 5 daggers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another seed bead because I have a seed bead on either side of the daggers on that first one. So that's what I've got there. I'm just going to loop this back around and put it through that pink bead a second time, like that, and then pick up another seed bead, and then just start my pattern here with the other beads. This is going to be a very springtimey necklace. And I don't know about y'all, but I am ready for spring. Oh, I put 2 pearls on in a row. Let's put on our yellow beads. So I'm mostly stringing, but we are just doing some funky things with our beading wire to add a little floral flair to this springtimey necklace. And one more. Now there were 5 of these larger beads, so I'm going to want to end with one of these. So this will be 1/2. So I've got my seed bead there first, and now let's go through this guy with our first pass. And I need a seed bead, 5 daggers, and a seed bead. So seed bead, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another seed bead. And I'm going to go back through that pink bead one more time. And another seed bead, and I'm going to do 2 repeats of this beading pattern. And when I finish doing that, I'm going to work on the other end and then see how far we are for length. And I'll just be finishing up this same beading pattern. The pearl and the drook separated by these guys until it is the right length. Really easy, really pretty, very much a springtime necklace. I'm not usually a yellow guy, but I love these pretty yellows interspersed with the pinks and the soft peachy color. It adds to it. Alright, I'm going to stop here and start working on the other end of this necklace. I'm going to stick my bead stopper on right there while I work on the other end. That's so pretty. This is definitely something that a Featherington would wear, I think. Don't you think? Something floral and fun and flirty and yellowy. Pinks. I think it's pretty. Oh, I forgot to put my seed bead on there. There we go. Seed bead, 5 daggers. Where did my seed bead go? I need you to stay on there. There we go. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another seed bead. Then I can go back through here. Like this. One more. Yeah, I think once I let go of that need to be perfect, I think I finally really started to grow as a crafter and as a creator. Being able to say, you know what, it may not be perfect, but it is good. You know, perfection is the enemy of good. That's a saying. One more, and another seed bead. There we go. Let's go back through this big honkin' chonker. Scooch this along. Then I'm gonna do need to do some more of these, and it looks like this end is a little bit shorter, but I think we might be long enough for a bracelet, or not bracelet, a necklace at this point. So let me keep going. I mean, once I finish this, so after I get this strung, then we'll check the size and see where we're at. See how she sits. I must put the wrong bead on. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pearls. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And then one more. Because I am going to still need to have some wire available for crimping at the end of this. Alright. Going to check my size. See where we're at. Needs to be a little bit longer. So let's keep going until we get to here. And there is a way for me to make this a little bit longer too. And that would be to use my crimp to actually make my loop at the end by adding a little bit of wire to that. So this is not a showstopper. This is still something that we can get to. that's the end of that. There's not a lot of wire left. This isn't enough wire to crimp, to turn back on itself and crimp, but it is enough wire for me to crimp an extra piece of wire onto. But I want to make sure that this side is a matching length. So I'm going to add yellow, pearl yellow, those guys. And I can, if I need to, use like an extender chain near the back to make it longer, but I think it will be long enough. Okay, yes, that will be long enough. So I'm gonna put this on here, move these guys out of the way temporarily. And this is gonna be just splicing on a little bit of wire. I actually have some extra wire right here that I can use. So what I'm going to do is take this crimp right here. I'm going to put it onto the end of this wire and then add this wire into it, into the crimp. And then bend it back around on itself so that it is also going through the crimp. Looks like I've got some of that going through a seed bead as well. Don't know if I want it to go through all of that though. This part can be a little bit tough. You know what, actually, let's do it this way because these crimps get a little bit tight. I'm actually just going to crimp this on here and then put another bead in the way in between them. So I'm crimping on my extra wire. I will talk you through the magical crimper in just a minute when it's not as dicey for losing my extra bit of wire. Okay. Okay, so we've got our extra bit there. I'm going to snip this off. And then I'm going to put on 2 of these guys, or maybe 3, I don't know. Or just 1 actually. That looks nice. There we go. And now I can make my little loop on this end. I can attach a jump ring to, or a lobster clasp, or something like that. I've got my crimp, and I'm going to bend this back around itself. And I want there to be a little bit of space between that bead and the crimp, So I'm just using my fingernail to do that because I want to be able to center that crimp inside my magical crimper. So there's a little concavity in there. Just going to center it in there, give it a smush. That's just pressing down like the corners of that crimp. And then when I come at it from different angles, it will eventually completely smooth out all of those corners. And I'll have myself a nice little ball of crimp right there. Yep, and I've just got that little 11-0 between those two crimps to keep them separated. And that just kind of extended a little bit where I was running out of wire. You can always add a little bit more if you can plan where to add that. Pro tip, I bet you didn't know we were going to be doing that today. Right, and I just needed another crimp. For this end, I'm going to make another loop that I can use a jump ring to attach things to. For this one, I don't need to do all of those fancy extras with putting a crimp bead and then adding another 11-0 or anything like that. So this end will be a little bit different, but I still am making sure there's space between the crimp and my bead. Go. Going around. To smooth it out. And jump rings. I'm going to use a chain nose pliers and another set of pliers to open up my jump rings. Hold it open on one end. And actually, I think for this side, we're just going to leave the jump ring. On its own. Then for this side, we're going to attach the lobster clasp. And there we go. Our little springtime bouquet necklace using beads from the Potomac Beads Best Bead Box Treasure Edition. And I will put links in the description to both my unboxing and to Potomac Beads, where you can check out the subscription and see if it's something that would be interesting for you to subscribe to. If you like this, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy beading.